I know that what I'm about to say is going to hurt some feelings. And I know it's going to ruffle some feathers. But we have to be honest. We have to be honest to classism, racism, imperialism, and everything that comes along with it. So I have to be honest to everyone, and especially my minorities. And I want to let you know that you should know why you was brought to this country. And I think you should know the very truth to why you came to this country. And we already know the Constitution does not really include black people in general, or for that fact, anything other than white when it comes down to it. So any minority takes a back seat to white people in this country. Constitutional, financial, and everything above. But let's talk about the reason why minorities were brought here in the first place. We was brought here about 400 years ago. And even though there is overwhelming proof that we were here first, that there were Africans and Indians already in this country thousands of years ago, they still act as if we just barely got here. So knowing all of these things, and knowing the history of this country, and knowing that the Indians were already occupying the place, which does prove again who was there first, minorities. But I want to tell you why we really were here. And I hope you don't take this personal, but sometimes the truth is personal. You were brought here to this country, the United States of America, to build the Great White Empire. That's why you was brought here. To rebuild the Caucasian civilization. To build power for the Europeans and to rebuild their empire. Because if you go back through history, you'll realize that their empire fell long years ago, and they lived in desolated places. And Europe, their true Europe, was all in shambles. It was all crumbled to dust and became nothing but cold caves. So they came out of those caves once they started to forge their iron and create weapons. And they plotted on coming down to the people of the sun and coming down to the people that dwelt in the dry lands to take them over and to overwhelm them. And when they had all of their babies and swelled up their population and got their swords and weapons together, they made their move. And then they came here. And then they traveled on ships, the Great White Empire, which is called the United States of America, which is connected to all other countries, which runs the United Nations and run the one world power. And they did that off the backs of minorities, and most definitely, especially off the back of black slaves. This is a fact. So you was brought to this country, minorities, anything other than white. You were brought here to build their empire, to build their power structure. You are the reason why they are the most powerful people on the planet. They came up with a brilliant plan, but they first had to come up with a scheme. And that scheme was called multicolorism. And they told you that this country accepts everybody. Isn't it ironic that the most racist country in the world for the last 400 or 500 years proclaimed to be the place where everyone is treated equal? Do you find that kind of odd? And most definitely very contradictory, because we know that this is not true. Not everybody is treated like white people in this country. There is a class level here in this country, and it goes according to culture. This is a fact. So they have already perpetrated the fraud by claiming something that they don't believe in themselves. Because the same country that claimed that they wanted everybody to come here and live under this great umbrella, like the rainbow, was the same people that had a law that prohibit people from being in interracial relationships or marrying in interracial relationships. And I'm not just saying interracial, but I'm really saying inter-white. That means anything that was married to white or dating white was not accepted. So white people were not allowed to date out, marry out of their race. They had a law that prohibited this from happening. So I ask you, how could this same country say that they are the rainbow of the universe, that they accept all colors, cultures, and creeds? Yes, they do. They accept everybody, but they only accept you because you are the workforce for their empire. And how brilliant of a plan can it be when they say we're going to build our white empire once again? We're going to build white supremacy up once again. And not only we're going to build white supremacy up, we're going to get the people that we're going to dominate to help us do it. Isn't it a brilliant plan to have somebody else build your house and you know you're going to be the only one that's going to live in it? And let's go back to slavery. How many houses did black people build that they never got a chance to live in? It is the same thing when it comes to this country. You are building their empire for them. And when technology hits and really hits, they're eventually going to find a way to get rid of you. And multicolorism is nothing but an illusion that they are putting on top of us, hoping that our numbers will go down and theirs will increase. This is why they always keep a regimen of millions of whites that have dedicated themselves to not mixing out, period. You might find a few here and there, but do not be fooled. They have a regimen, and they always will keep a regimen. Because through generations and generations of white people, they are taught to keep their blood pure. But it's ironic that they're showing us commercials every day telling us to mix our blood out. You have to be smart enough to realize what is going on. They know they cannot just simply wipe minorities out, so they have to trick minorities into destroying their cultures. And once we all become mixed up, then culture will not be the strength of that people and those people. So you will not have no competition. White power will have no competition. It will have no Asian structure to fight against, no Hispanic structure to fight against, and most definitely the most hated one, a black structure or culture to fight against. Because everyone will be so mixed up, and they will be able to retain power because they will always retain a regimen of white people. No matter how much we mix out, there will always be a hidden white society that will always be thriving while ours is declining. So you have to be smart, and I hope you people are smart enough to sustain Asian culture, Hispanic culture, and black culture. Do not be fooled, because they have a regimen of white people that already know the code. So now that I have told you that, you have come here only for one reason, and that is to work. And that is to be the empire builders of their structure. Now they run the majority of the countries on the planet. We made them powerful than ever. And we are still making them powerful than ever. How many scientists and athletes and everybody that we have that is generating millions and billions of dollars through sports, entertainment, and every other avenue. that is building this great empire. And only thing I can say is this. At the end of the empire, will we really be a part of it? Or will we just continue to be dominated by the society and the empire that we have built? Well, that's something to think about. Like, subscribe, and as always, one love.